Hello everyone and welcome to Study IQ English. I am Joycey Joy. In this video, we'll be discussing about PJ Nayak Committee on Banking Sector Reforms. So let's get started. PJ Nayak Committee, or this committee was officially known as the Committee to Review the Governance of Boards of Banks in India, and this committee was set up by RBI to review the governance of boards of banks in India. See, from this it is clear that the objective of this committee was to review the governance of boards of banks in India. That is, how the banks, especially the public sector banks, this committee was constituted for the purpose of reviewing the governance of public sector banks in India. This committee was popularly known as PJ Nayak Committee because the chairman of this committee was PJ Nayak, and that's why it is popularly known as PJ Nayak Committee. The official name of this committee, the Committee to Review Governance of Bank Boards in India, will give us an idea regarding what was the objective of this committee. The objective was to look into how the public sector banks are governed in the country. And this was set up by RBI in January 2014. Chairman was PJ Nayak, who was the former CEO and chairman of the Axis Bank. Let us come to the objectives of this committee. First one, to review regulatory compliance requirements of boards of banks in the country and to evaluate what can be rationalized and where requirements need to be enhanced. See, to review the regulatory compliance requirements, what does it mean? Whether the public sector banks in India comply with the regulatory standards or with the regulations that are already put in place by the central bank, which is the RBI. RBI is the central bank of Indian economy, and RBI is also the monetary authority. It is also the monetary authority or the regulator of the banking system in the country. So RBI is the central bank and the regulatory authority of banking system. Regulatory authority of banking system and the central bank. As a central bank and as the regulator of the banking system in the country, RBI puts in place some regulations and standards which has to be complied by the banks. So one of the objectives of this committee was to see whether the public sector banks in the country, whether they comply with these standards or regulations. That was the first one. Second one, to examine the working of the boards of banks, including if sufficient time is given to strategy issues, governance, growth and risk management. Second one was to oversee how does the bank boards, we know that the board refers to the board of directors. For any company, the board of directors is a supreme decision-making body. Now, a bank is also a company, and to see whether the board of directors, to examine the working of the board of directors, whether the board of directors are dedicating sufficient time for issues like governance, strategy issues, growth, risk management, etc. That was the second objective. Third one, to review the RBI regulatory guidelines on bank ownership concentration and board concentration. To review means what? To oversee and to make any changes if required. To review the RBI regulatory guidelines on bank ownership concentration and board concentration. Fourth is to study the compensation of the board. That is, what is the compensation given to the board of directors. Fifth one, to study the representation in the bank's board to check if the boards have the required mix of capabilities and required independence to govern and to inquire into possible conflict of interest in board representation. That was the fifth objective. Sixth one, to study any other issues pertinent to the functioning and governance of the board of banks. These were the objectives of the committee. Now, let's understand what was the reason or rationale behind setting up of this committee. Why was this committee set up? In nationalized banks, the government owns more than 50% of the shares, which gives its majority voting rights. We know that we call a bank as a nationalized bank if majority of the ownership, that is more than 50% of the ownership, is owned by the government. That is a case where we call a bank as a nationalized bank. A majority of the ownership should be within the government. Because of this, the government can interfere in the boards of such banks and appoint inefficient people into the boards. So see, when there is a majority of ownership, what happens? The voting rights also are majority, because the voting rights are based on the proportion of shares. So voting rights can also be majority. So what happens? The government can make political appointments, and that can be inefficient people coming into the boards. So there are chances of political appointments which can reduce the efficiency of the system. That is, the appointment of members might not always be based on merit. It should not be always based on merit. It can be political appointments as well. This will lead to overall efficiency, and this is inefficiency, and scams such as syndicate bank scam. This is just an example. So that was the reason why this committee was set up, to look into the board of directors of the public sector banks. Now we are coming to the most important part of this committee, that is the recommendations given by this committee. First one, to repeal the Bank Nationalization Act, SBI Act, SBI Subsidiaries Act and all. Why? Because there are a lot number of legislations that govern the bank, which can cause a rigidity and also which can reduce the efficiency in the working of these banks. This is because these acts require the government to have above 50% shares in the bank. So all these acts says that government should hold more than 50% or a majority of the shares. So this committee was actually indirectly recommending for a disinvestment. After the above acts are repealed, the government should set up a bank investment company as a holding company or a core investment company. What is the purpose of a core investment company? To hold the surplus shares, that is, to sell the shares to the public or to the private companies, and to hold the remaining shares. The government to transfer its shares in the banks to BIC, Bank Investment Company. Thus, the BIC would become the parent holding company of all these national banks, which would become the subsidiaries. As a result of this, all the public sector banks would become limited banks. Now, what is meant by a limited bank? That is the liability of the owner or the shareholder is only limited to the extent of the shares. The BIC will be an autonomous and have the powers to appoint the board of directors and make other policy decisions. Until the BIC is formed, a temporary body called Bank Boards Bureau will be formed. And this was a question that was repeatedly asked by the UPSC in the prelims examination. And we have also discussed about Bank Boards Bureau in detail. So what is the function of Bank Boards Bureau? To make appointments to the senior posts in the public sector banks. In public sector banks. The Bank Boards Bureau will advise on appointments to the board, bank's chairman and other executive directors. Next is arguments in favor of the recommendations. The chairman's pay will be linked to profit. That is, the pay of the chairman, the remuneration of the chairman will be linked to the profit, so that the efficiency will be high. The chairman will concentrate more on making profit. So he or she will focus on marketing, improving customer base and advertisements. The banks will be under only RBI supervision and not under the CVC, RTI, CAG, etc. Multiple supervisions cause rigidity in the banking system. CVC is Central Vigilance Commission, RTI is Right to Information Act, and CAG is Controller and Auditor General of India. This will make the banks more amenable and take the calculated risk. In nationalized banks, because they are subject to supervision from CAG, RTI, etc., bold decisions are not taken by the government because of multiple supervisory authorities. Generally, national banks invest their profits in the government securities only. And hence, they do not make huge profits because government securities are safe bet. That is, the risk is very less. And we know in an investment, when the risk is less, the return would also be less. This is called the risk-return trade-off. When the risk is less, returns would also be less. This is also because the government owns majority shares in them, which indirectly controls where they invest in. This is also called fiscal repression. This is an important term. Government owns majority shares in these banks, which indirectly controls where they invest in. So it is the government which will make the major decisions, and the investment decision will also be made by the government. This can be avoided because the private banks invest in securities that give higher returns than the government securities. So profitability should be considered, and it should not be just invested in government securities. Nationalized banks could be forced to bail out loss-making entities. And nationalized banks were also forced to give up cheap loans to FCI and to waive off the farmers' loans or waive off farmers' debts. So all these were major decisions taken. These are the arguments against these recommendations. Some people argue that lowering the government share to below 51% will make the banks only profit motive. That is, the private entities are focused only on making profit, or we can say maximizing profit, and therefore when the government is losing its hold on these banks, this can lead to just a profit making company, turning these banks into just profit making companies. In India, financial inclusion in rural areas is less, and if banks are run by only profit, no branches will be set up in the villages. This can affect the financial inclusion part of the country. When the oversight of CAG and CVC are gone, there is a possibility of fraud. There are possibilities of fraud as well, because there are less supervision. Only RBI supervises the banks, and RBI has very limited scope. The scope of RBI is just from the monetary terms or from the banking perspective. So fraud or other kinds of things has to be supervised by their experts or those bodies which are experts for this. So these are the arguments which are against the recommendations of this committee. So this is about the PJ Nayak committee. This is a very important committee for banking system, and it's a favorite committee for UPSC as well, because many times questions are asked from this topic. So I hope this was a useful one for you. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very best.